students, today we are going to see lesson 7 part D. Explain strong features of Indian economy. First, Indian economy, it is as a mixed economy. It is about the private and public sector. Public schools and private schools, public hospital and private hospitals. In it, both sectors are working together in Indian economy. Agriculture plays a key role. Agriculture being the maximum pursued occupation in India, it plays an important role in its economy as well. Around 60% of the people in India depend upon agriculture for their livelihood. You know the current situation of the farmers in Delhi, isn't it? So agriculture plays a key role. An emerging market. India has emerged as a vibrant economy, sustaining stable GDP growth rate even in the midst of global downtrend. That is increasing GDP rate, growth in GDP rate. This has attracted the significant foreign capital through FDI and FII. So they are interested to merge into the Indian market. Emerging economy. Emerging as a top economic giant among the world economy, India bags the 7th position in terms of nominal GDP, that is gross domestic product, and 3rd in terms of purchasing power parity. Fast growing economy. India's economy is well known for high and sustained growth. It has emerged as the world's fastest growing economy in the year 2016 to 17. Fast growing service sector. The service sector contributes a lion's share of the GDP in India. There has been high rise growth in the technical sectors like information technology, balance payment, etc. Large domestic consumption. With the faster growth rate in the economy, the standard of living has improved a lot in the Indian economy. So that is large domestic consumption means the consuming capacity has been increased. Rapid growth of urban areas. Urbanization is a key ingredient of the growth of any economy. There has been a rapid growth of urban areas in India after independence. Stable macroeconomy. The Indian economy has been projected and considered as one of the most stable economies of the world. So it is in a stable position, Indian economy. Next we will see about the importance of mineral resources in India. Iron ore. India possesses high quality iron ore in abundance. Hematite iron is mainly found in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Goa and Karnataka. Coal and lignite. Coal is the largest available mineral resource. India ranks 3rd in the world after China and USA in coal production. So we are in the 3rd position, isn't it? The main centers of coal in India are West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. Next, bauxite. Bauxite is the main source of metal like aluminium. Major reserves are concentrated in the east coast bauxite deposits of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. That is, major reserves are concentrated in the east coast bauxite deposits of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. So they are telling the places where we get these minerals in India. Mica is a heat resisting mineral which is also a bad conductor of electricity. It is used in electrical equipment as an insulator. India stands first in sheet mica production and contributes 60% of mica trade in the world. Crude oil. Oil is being explored in India at many places of Assam and Gujarat. Gold. India possesses only a limited gold reserve. There are only 3 main gold mine regions, that is in India. Kolar Goldfield, Kolar district and Hatti Goldfield in Raichur district, both in Karnataka, and Ramagiri Goldfield in Anantapur district, Andhra Pradesh. Next we will see about the diamond. As per UNICE, the total reserves of diamond is estimated at around 4,580,000 carats, which are mostly available in Pana, Madhya Pradesh, Ramalakota of Kurnool district of Andhra Pradesh, and also in the basin of Krishna river. All these mineral resources are found in India in particular places. Bring up the Jawaharlal Nehru's contribution to the idea of economic development, democracy and secularism. Nehru was a firm believer in democracy. Democracy means freedom. He believed in free speech, civil liberty, adult franchise and the rule of law and parliamentary democracy. Secularism is another signal contribution of Nehru to India. In our country, there are many religions like Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Jainism, Zoroastrianism, Sikhism and so on. Next, main aim of Jawaharlal Nehru towards our country is planning. Jawaharlal Nehru was responsible for the introduction of planning in our country. Planning for what purpose? For the social welfare of the people, to develop the Indian economy. To Jawaharlal Nehru, the plan was essentially an integrated approach for development of the economy. Initiating the debate on the second plan in the Lok Sabha in May 1956, Nehru spoke on the theme of planning. So he brought all the plannings in India for the economic development. Third one, democratic socialism. Socialism is another contribution of Nehru to India. Socialism means all are equal in the society. He put the country on the road towards a socialistic pattern of society. But Nehru socialism is democratic socialism, freedom of socialism. Write a brief note on the Gandhian economic ideas. Next, the thinker who is telling about the economic development is Gandhiji, isn't it? The first point is that village republics. To Gandhi, India lives in villages. He was interested in developing the villages as self-sufficient units. Self-sufficient units means they must be efficient to make themselves powerful and more efficient, sufficient units. He opposed extensive use of machinery, urbanization and industrialization. Machinery means machine-made goods. He want to abolish machine-made goods. Urbanization means only in towns they can survive, that mentality should be abolished. And industrialization, industrial products must be abolished, declined. On machinery, regarding machinery about Gandhian thought. Gandhi described as machinery as a great sin. He said that books could be written to demonstrate its evils. It is necessary to realize that machinery is bad. So machinery what will do? It will make the people very lazy, isn't it? Machines will do all the things. So Gandhi thought machinery is a sin, as great sin. Industrialism. Gandhi considered industrialism as a curse on mankind. He thought industrialism depended entirely on a country's capacity to exploit. Isn't it? Makes people lazy and the works will be done very somewhat industrial. It won't be handmade. Decentralization. He advocated a decentralized economy, that a production at a large number of a place on a small scale, or production in the people's home, isn't it? For like small scale industry, the village at a cottage industry, all these things will be appreciated and encouraged by Gandhiji. Village Sarvodaya. According to Gandhi, real India was to found in villages, not in towns or cities. Bread labor. Gandhi realized the dignity of human labor, that the man must earn by himself and he must eat his own food. He believed that God created man to eat his bread by the sweat of his brow, that he must work hard and from earning the money income, he must live his livelihood. The doctrine of trusteeship. Trusteeship provides a means of transferring the present capitalist order of society into an egalitarian one. Capitalist means only one person will be the owner and he will dominate the workers. That should be taken away from the economy. On the food problem, Gandhi was against any sort of food controls. He thought such controls only created artificial scarcity, isn't it? On population, Gandhi opposed a method of population control through contraceptives. And next one, through contraceptives means he is against the population control. On prohibition, Gandhi advocated 10% prohibition. He regarded the use of liquor as disease rather than a vice. So with this, we finish this lesson and we will continue the next class with the next lesson. Thank you, students. God bless you all.